everyone! So as I was having my breakfast this morning, I realized that these tangerine shells are actually a really great way to show you how you can practice shaping your bust on an overbust corset without having to go right to pencil and paper and try to draft it yourself. So what I have here are the peels of tangerines right here. You can use something a little bit larger like grapefruit if you want. I only have tangerines, so if you want, say, a really pointy bust, you could probably practice on something like a lemon. So what I'm going to show you is three different ways that you can cut up the panels of your bust. And it's really nice to practice on something like this, which is, you know, it's hemispherical, so it sort of resembles what the bust is going to be like, but it gives you something to practice on before you actually cut up your duct tape dress form. So the first method, quite simple, is to make many thin panels across, like so. So you can divide the bust into 3 or even 4 different panels so that it will lie somewhat flat. And as you can see, it's starting to look kind of like a basketball right now. So you can see here that I cut it into 4 different panels, and if you imagine that the rest of the corset extends downwards from these edges, you can see that it's more or less flat like this. When you actually make it out of your fabric, then it's going to be a little bit geometric, but as you break in your corset, it should smooth out because, you know, fabric is not completely sturdy. It will be able to drape over curves. So this is one way that you can shape your bust. The next way you can shape your bust is to first divide it into 2 pieces. And many commercial corset patterns only divide the bust into 2 pieces like this. But as you can see, it still doesn't lie that flat. So what you can do is actually slash this, just like that. So it creates kind of a V shape or a Y shape, just like that, and you can see now it lies flat. So when you are going to take your pattern piece and actually trace it out onto fabric, such as this, then you'll be left with probably something like this, in which case you see these lines that I made right there. You're going to have to form a dart there. So you just match those 2 sewing lines together and then press it down. So you'll be left with something like this, and you can see now it has more of the shape that you desire. When you're making a dart, try and really spread out that extra material and try to really taper off your sewing line so that you don't get a funky little point right there. You want it to be somewhat more smooth, like that. And the last method I'm going to show you is actually using bust gores. So what bust gores are, or hip gores are, it's little triangular inserts that you can use to distribute more fullness. So if I'm just going to put some triangles in here. So as you can see, this lies more or less flat right now. Oops, I ripped that a little bit. And then afterwards you're going to have to sew in these little triangular inserts right there to give you the desired roundness and fullness of the bust. And your bust gores, they don't have to be triangular shaped like this, because as you can see, when you have a triangular shape like that, it gives you more of a demi-bust where you have fullness underneath the bust and then it cuts off, and you don't have the rest of that material to cover the top part of your bust. So what you can do is actually make more of a marquise shape. So this is a marquise shape. It's kind of like a rounded out diamond. And so you can see that there's less fullness at the top, and then it goes into more fullness to cut the breast, and then it tapers down like that into nothing, so that you get a nice roundness that supports both the top and the bottom of your breast. So once again, here are the 3 examples that I just showed you side by side so you can compare. So the first technique is having many very narrow vertical pattern pieces that just blend down into the torso like that. And the second technique is having larger vertical pattern pieces, but then you have to slash it either at the top or the bottom to be able to distribute that fullness. And when you transfer this pattern to fabric, you'll have to make a dart right there where you slashed. And in this example, you're going to have bust gores or bust gussets, where you have little either triangular or marquise pieces that you can insert to give the cup more fullness. So I hope this helped you, and I will see you in a few days for the next tutorial on how to actually cut out your duct tape pattern.